Chainsaw Man Chapter 161 picks up where the last chapter left off, with Asa and Yoru along with the family doubles, groupies, and Katana Man on their way to free Denji so Yoru and Katana Man can fight him. And ironically enough, they do wind up fighting him, just not in one piece. The chapter starts off with the gang busting through the door where surgeons were cutting up Denji into pieces, with both the War Devil and Katana Man draining the surgeons who were operating on Denji with death if they don't tell them where Chainsaw Man is. And the surgeons who aren't phased but are more annoyed by what's happening reveals to them that Chainsaw Man's in the boxes they knocked down where Katana Man busted through the door. Where we get to reveal that the surgeons were actually successful in being able to cut Denji into pieces, which while it doesn't kill him, it does put him in a suspended state, because while being put back together, Denji can actually come back to life. And there's a lot of irony in Denji's fate here when you look at it, because what public safety did to Denji is the same thing that Denji ended up doing to Makima at the end of part 1, cutting her up into pieces and throwing it into some Tupperware in his fridge to be eaten later. And Yuri gives a very mixed reaction, one of sadness or maybe even possibly of pity, for what they've done to her fellow devil. And Yoru, like Makima, does see Chainsaw Man as a worthy adversary and a rival, and to see him be reduced to such a horrible state from a devil who's feared throughout hell is a sad sight to see. Yoru then orders all the humans in the room to get Chainsaw Man's body back together under the threat of being killed. And then we get a montage of the fam devil along with the other humans in the room putting Chainsaw Man back together, with Bobating finding Pochita in one of the boxes and Seigi finding Denji's manlyhood as well. And although Katana Man cracks a joke that they should mess with Denji's body, Yoru orders them to put Chainsaw Man's body back together to the proper place so she could find him at his fullest. Let her fights with him would be meaningless. This is a major contrast to how Yoru was more than willing to kill Chainsaw Man at his lowest, and some may say it was because Yoru earlier on in the story was far weaker than she is now, but I really do think in between the time skip we got following Denji around, something did change in Yoru's character. Because in the last few chapters, when Yoru isn't acting tough, she seems to be a lot warmer and far more human than she was at the beginning of the story, showing us that the human experience, being with Asa and her time being a hero, saving people from devils, did change her slightly as a person. And we kinda get to see the real reason why Yoru may want to fight Chainsaw Man is because deep down, Yoru may actually like him, because Katana Man and the Nail Fiend both tease Yoru for having no game, with Yoru replying, well, I don't need any game since love makes you into a fool. And time again throughout Chainsaw Man's story, this has definitely been true. Love was what made Aki and Denji blind to who Makima truly was, and Makima's love for Pochita is what made her blind to the love and affection that was around her. But ultimately, the love and love in general that Denji had for Makima is what set him free, and the experiences he had with her is what ultimately led him to be the man that he is today, for better and for worse. Which is something that Yoru and Asa to some extent doesn't fully understand. I don't think they really genuinely understand what love really is, especially Yoru specifically, which is ironic coming from Yoru considering that Yoru's power of turning objects and even people into weapons relies strongly on the possession and strong affection for an object or person. But maybe it's also likely why Yoru focuses on more the negative aspects of love, because love for Yoru just means getting your heart broken over and over again. I mean, after all, that is kind of how her power works. We then see that Bromany opens up one of the boxes where he finds Chainsaw Man's head, and Haruko at first, he doesn't believe who he's seeing, but once he asks the doctor who's just sipping on his coffee and confirms that that is indeed Chainsaw Man, he goes into a deep cold sweat and reveals to Asa that Chainsaw Man is no other than Denji, which shocks Asa. But before we can get some dialogue between Asa and Yoru, we see that two people have broken into the room, and is none other than the public safety devil agent that we saw in the last chapter, who ran off with none other to get QUANXI, who's been ordered to kill everyone in the room, the surgeons included. And this is going to be a situation that really is going to test Yoru's capabilities and her newfound powers. Because QUANXI isn't just some mindless devil going on a rampage, but a walking calamity who left it all behind. A being who spent decades and possibly hundreds of years honing their skills along with their intelligence to be the best devil hunter and assassin that there is. But let me know in the comments if you think Yoru even stands a chance against QUANXI, and will the Famine Devil actually use her trump card against QUANXI to actually be able to win the fight?